In this video, I'm going to share with you 7 YouTube automation niches you need to avoid in 2026. The first one is going to be speech channels. So if we open up this channel, I'm going to show you exactly what this type of content looks like because you need to avoid it. Now, why do you need to avoid it? You're probably looking at it and thinking to yourself, well, there's a $7.36 RPM, which again, definitely is pretty high. However, the challenge is that this channel is plagued with issues. So the first thing that we have here is if we take a look at one of the videos, you can just simply see that it's an image of Charlie Munger and then it's just a voice recording. And it's a voice recording of Charlie Munger. So obviously the person that's running this channel does not have the rights to this content. So in my personal opinion, it's just a matter of time before this channel gets taken down. So I wouldn't want you to start your YouTube automation journey and then start something that's going to get taken down in 3, 6, 9 months, because you want to have this as the digital asset that's going to pay you over time. Now, the other thing that you want to think about, again, why you wouldn't want to start this channel is lack of a moat. So how easy would it be for someone to just simply come onto this channel and make a copy of it? All you'd have to do is get the voice recording from his other videos and then basically just pop an image on a video and then let the video play out and upload it onto YouTube. So the problem is whenever you're creating channels that are easy to copy, the timeline for them to actually allow you to get paid from them is going to be shortened because there's going to be more competition on easier to produce content in niches that, again, don't have exactly the greatest moat around them. And also too, because this content is not low value, but it's not as high value as other pieces of content, it's very hard to monetize this outside of ad revenue. So again, another reason, if you follow my best practices, you always want your YouTube channels to have 2 or more monetization methods: brand deals, affiliates, exclusives, digital products. And in this particular case, this channel is only going to make ad revenue. So again, this is definitely not a type of channel that you want to be pursuing in 2026 if your goal is to build an automated YouTube channel that's going to pay you alongside your business, alongside your 9-to-5 job, etc. Now moving on, the second channel that you want to avoid building is a yoga for kids channel. So if we go to this channel so you can kind of see what it looks like, we're going to open this up and I'm going to explain to you why this is not a good niche to pursue. So the first thing is that the RPM is very low. You can see that it's $1.29 per 1,000 views. So this means that let's say you're getting 1 million views per month, which is above what most channels end up getting. You're still only making $1,000. You probably want to make $5,000, $10,000, $20,000 a month. You're never going to get there making this type of content on this type of channel. On top of this, while you can obviously see that some of the videos do particularly well, this content is very easy to copy. That's why if you look at older content, it's got quite a few views, but now people have tried to copy it, and now the channel is ultimately struggling. As you can see here, the views have gone down significantly. So at this point, if the channel is only getting 230,000 views, it's basically making next to no money, probably not even worth your time to pursue. But also because this content's focused towards kids, what that effectively means is that your ability to monetize the content and the reach of the videos is going to be limited or restricted. And that means that you're not going to be able to get as many views or also make as much money as you could on other channels. Now, the thing you want to think about is the view counts that you're seeing on these types of channels don't always translate to the amounts that they're earning. It doesn't mean that this is an automatic winner of a channel. And so this is just a really good example to make sure you don't waste your precious time and money trying to build a channel around yoga for kids, even if you see some of the other channels getting a lot of views per video or even per month, which moves us on to the next niche, which is going to be the personal finance niche. Now, I know what you're thinking, Adam, isn't personal finance one of the best niches? I mean, it's got that high RPM, everyone tells you that, and you're not wrong, it does. You can see here that the RPM is $7.38, which is fantastic. So again, if you're getting 1 million views a month, you're making over $7,000 in your pocket, which is nothing to scoff at. That's a great income alongside your 9-to-5 job, or In many cases, it can even allow you to live directly off YouTube income. And I will say that this is not a bad niche in the sense where you can have multiple monetization methods like brand deals, affiliates on top of ad revenue. But the reason I don't like personal finance directly is because you can see on channels like this, the topics are scattered. So here you have basically general finance, then you have things like investing, then you have things like retiring early, you have things like basically stuff of that nature, basically financial milestones. And so why I'm sharing that personal finance is not really a great niche is because you can see here that some topics tend to do well and then other ones really kind of fall flat. And it's because some topics are just going to be naturally more interesting to people than others, right? And especially as you start making all this scattered content, if I came for the retirement or the investing stuff and you started sharing financial milestones that I don't really care about, I'm not going to watch your video. I'm going to turn into a ghost subscriber who no longer gets recommended the videos, even though I'm a subscriber, and then that's ultimately going to impact the channel. So for example, you can see a video here where you pay less taxes or zero taxes. Not a very high performing video because all the other videos are basically about building your net worth and investing. And so this video about taxes, even though tax videos can do very well, the challenge is that on this channel, the audience that's built over time is not interested in that. So ultimately you're getting less value and less return on your videos because ultimately you're only serving a small sub-segment of your audience when you could be serving more if you were cultivating an audience that's interested in one particular zone of interest. So again, retirement, dividend investing, general stock investing, things like that. So again, personal finance, not bad if you go into a sub niche, but at a higher level, it can be problematic. Now, no one tells you that, but if you like that insight, make sure you subscribe. I want to keep building this up for people that are serious about building a YouTube channel outside their 9-to-5 job. And if that's you, you don't want to miss any future videos. Now, next, we're going to talk about the next niche, which is going to be war updates. Please do not start a channel around war updates. Now, what do I mean by war updates, right? So it's very important for me to go over this with you because I think it's going to be very important for you to understand why this is not a good option. Now, you probably come across this channel and you're seeing that the channel is getting tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views. And, they're getting over 3 million views per month. Now you're thinking, Adam, this seems like a really great niche for me to pursue. Why would I not want to pursue it? Well, if you're working a busy 9-to-5 job and you don't have a robust production team in place, or you're not using AI tools that I recommend in my other videos, it's going to be very hard for you to upload videos each and every day. That's number one, and especially if you're outsourcing, it's going to be very costly. However, the other things you need to think about is that this goes right against violence guidelines because sharing things like people, experiencing very negative events in their life due to the war, that effectively can cause your channel to get taken down because it goes against violence policies. Also, too, people are not going to want to advertise on this content. So the trouble is that you're not going to be able to make money outside of ad revenue. Now, it's not to say that if you were taking this exact approach, you couldn't make quite a bit of money because the RPM is very high. And obviously you can see this channel is making well over $15,000 just in ad revenue. But the problem is that keeping up with this type of content is going to be very hard. And it also can be relatively expensive. So it might look great to make 10 or 15,000, but not if you're spending close to that on creating content. And then the other thing is the depth of information. So usually people are coming for very accurate information in this area because it is very high stakes, high consequence. So if you're not very familiar with this type of content and you're trying to run a channel in this way, you are going to struggle because a lot of people are going to be calling out your content, telling you that you don't know what you're talking about. And that's not really how you want to run your channel because people are not going to subscribe, keep watching, etc. So while this looks like a good niche on the surface, probably not something that you want to pursue in 2026. Now, the next niche that you want to avoid is going to be high production documentaries. This is more just of a format than a niche, but a lot of people see channels like Fern and they think this is the best thing on earth, and it is a fantastic channel. But the trouble is, especially if you're just starting out, videos like these can easily be many hundreds, if not thousands of dollars to produce. And as you can see, the channel is getting quite a few views per month. So obviously it's very easy for them to be profitable. And these types of channels can do brand deals, affiliates, everything else like this. But where you should probably not pursue it is that if you're just starting out and you're trying to learn how to do YouTube properly, spending $500 or $1,000 to compete in areas like this is probably going to tap you out financially. And also too, it's going to discourage you when you may not be getting as much traction as a channel like this, who's definitely having a very positive ROI experience uploading these videos. Whereas, you know, if you're not getting at least 100,000 views on your videos, you may be actually losing money right off the bat. And your expectation should definitely not to be getting 100,000 views per video. So as you can see here, high competition, high cost of production, and people making these videos, because these are human made and human edited videos, finding talent that can make content like this will be very challenging, and also, like I said, very expensive. So it's very common for people that are contracting people to do videos like this that they lose part of their team, and then you're kind of stuck not being able to make the videos that you've once been able to produce. So again, not as easy of a channel to run, even though if you do it right, it can be very lucrative. But for the average person starting out, probably not what I recommend. Now moving on to the next niche, we have police cam or dash cam content. So this is very popular amongst people that are thinking about starting YouTube automation, because again, these videos can generate a lot of attention, because it is just, you know, generally interesting stuff that people want to look at. You can see this video right here, almost 9 million views, and it's just 2 months old. However, the thing about this is that, again, sometimes this is focused around violence, which means that YouTube may not want you to be uploading it. Also, as well, you can see that the RPM is good, but copyright issues are very prominent in this niche, because you're basically recycling content that you found online. And unless you have a really good way of sourcing original content, you are just going to be recycling it. And then especially if you don't really have any way to add unique value and transformative natures to the video, you're probably going to get your channel demonetized or taken down. And especially due to this type of content, no company is going to pay to advertise on this type of channel, which means that you're only going to be able to make ad revenue. Now, obviously, you can get quite a few views, but you can even see that some of this channel's content had to be taken down to the tune of 360,000 views, because it probably got flagged and needed to be removed. So again, a very problematic niche that, if you pursue it, can definitely end up costing you a lot of your precious time and definitely a lot of your precious money. Which leads us to the last niche that you definitely want to avoid, which is lo-fi. So those music channels that you see generating hundreds of thousands of views, while it's great if you started them 10 years ago, most of them struggle to grow. They're very hard to monetize. It's not really that easy to differentiate your content. And in many cases, it is hard to create original content that is not going to be flagged in any way. Again, that's something for you to think about so you don't simply waste your time. Plus, you need millions of views per month to actually make any money from it. Plus, think about it like this. I listen to lo-fi music. You might listen to it as well. And the trouble with building a channel like this is that people don't really subscribe. They just search lo-fi. They maybe come across your video, and then they're never coming back. So the ability to retain an audience that's going to keep watching your videos week after week is pretty low. So you're always hoping that you get that search traffic coming through, which means that you have to be well positioned on YouTube, which is very hard to do now that this niche is relatively saturated. So that's definitely a reason why you want to avoid building this, even though it seems like a really great idea, because the videos can still get quite a few views, but it's a lot more vanity metric focused than actual income focused, which is, you know, probably why you want to get started. And if you want to learn exactly how I've made over 600K with just one faceless YouTube channel, click on this next video.